Before we talk about the judicial process and the non-judicial process, can I just come back and ask if the families, the two parties reconcile, but you have already initiated the process, what can you do?
You will have to then, if you are back together, then you do have an obligation, if you're still talking about the immigration process,
yes,
just to report back about change of circumstances. So you have report back once, change of circumstances, then you have to report back again, the second change of circumstances.
Right.
So then it depends on what sort of questions would the immigration department ask you, or is it sufficient that you report in only? It could be both.
Right.
Would the department conduct an interview?
The department
Okay.
might conduct interview. There have been occasions with my experience that they do, and there are some occasion they are happy to just get submission based or a written.
In an unfortunate situation where the relationship is not reconciled and the person has to end the relationship. Now, we know that if you're on a spouse visa, and especially if you're on a temporary spouse visa, that you have to be in that relationship for a certain period, basically 2 years, before you get the permanent visa. In that situation, that is when a person is in a temporary visa situation, as we've highlighted before, the policy is such that the immigration law does not, just because of a visa situation, does not force someone to be in that situation. And you just mentioned the two processes that is available. What should one do to initiate the process, and how does the Department of Immigration follow through on this situation?
It all depends on the situation again. So maybe maybe there's no process in place at all, and you contact the department and say, this is what is happening in my house, or this is my circumstances now, and I'm going to leave. And then follow one of those processes to get an intervention order, or those ideal situations are very rare.
Yes.
So we will be faced with a client who is already with an intervention order outside the house, involvement with the police or involvement with the court system. Or we will have a client already has gone to a doctor, already has gone to a counselor, with no idea of this, this is what I need to do for immigration to get the visa sort of thing. So
where can those people go? But again, jumping, can I ask, if a person is houseless, a victim of family violence, what can she do? Where can she go? Who can she talk to?
Certainly there are support services, mainly a women's refuge would take them. When I said women's refuge, there's also refuges for men. So men could also, if they want to,
victims of family violence as well,
victims of family violence, and it is a growing area as well. Men as
unfortunately.
Yes.
All right.
So they might also go through the same and go into a refuge first, and seek protection. First, you need to be protected before you can go through those processes. And there's lots of help available in the community. You need to tap into it. And for people who can't speak the language, there's no barrier there too, because if you go to the police, interpreter will be, you can request an interpreter who would help you to go through the process. So that will help or ease you the burden of just being a victim and living in a relationship which could endanger your life at the end, not just yours. If there's children.
That's an interesting point. If there are children in such a relationship, that will be a very sad situation. But you should protect the children and their rights, especially if they're born in Australia. The mother's or the father's association is quite important. Now, let me get back to the immigration process. Who should they go to get advice in relation to immigration?
There's two categories of people that you can go. You can go to a lawyer who practice immigration, or you could go to a migration agent, a non-lawyer. So because of the connection between the court, particularly with the spousal visa, in my opinion, it's much better if you can select a migration lawyer to a migration agent, because the migration agent will be able to assist you in one particular area with the immigration department dealing, but they will not be able to advise you on cross jurisdiction. Just adding a little thing that one of the information that I gave you before. If you are on a spouse visa under that 2-year period and you want to remain in Australia, it is not the only thing just to go get an intervention order and go that judiciary or non-judiciary areas to remain here. There is a third option as well if you do have a child. If you do have a child, and if one parent is an Australian citizen, then that child become an Australian citizen child. So if you are the mother and if you are the victim and the child is with you, then because of the Australian born child, it is be much easier rather going through the intervention orders or process just to get your visa on that particular ground.
Could you just explain a little bit more on that process, please?
Yes. If it is the father and you are you are the person who has migrated here and you have an Australian born child and the wife has left you, removing the child from the home with her. So then for you to apply for the immigration process or to get the visa to remain in the country because of that child, it is not easy just like the woman just to say that you got an Australian born child. You had to first establish you do have some right to the child other than your name is on the birth certificate. So
I see. So does that mean that's a complicated process?
It's a complicated process for a male. So you need to go through the family court process,
right,
get residency or before we call it custody or spending time with the child,
right,
have a piece of document and then tell the immigration, look, I do have an Australian born child, not just the birth certificate, I do have a court order from the allowing me to spend time or the child to come and live with me.
If it is the mother who has the custody of the child and she is on a temporary visa?
And if she has just gone away, it's much easier for, if the child is with her,
yes,
then she can apply on the ground that the child is with me.
It is usually the case. Usually, in all times, the children might stay with the mother for primary care, but it is again will be a difficult situation for all parties concerned. And before we wrap up, what advice or in summary, what can we give our viewers?
There's plenty of support out there. If you are a victim of family violence, seek help immediately.
Yeah, don't put up with family violence just for the sake of getting a visa, because you can not put up with the family violence and still get a visa. So see a lawyer.
Yes, I just confirm what Vincent and Sulaika have said. Get that help, look for professionals, legal and non-legal, and work out what your options are.
You don't have to tolerate family violence just because of a visa. There are avenues available, there are services available, and Australia and its laws does not tolerate family violence. That's all the time that we've got for you today. You can watch our past episodes on YouTube or on Facebook. You can also visit our website www.lawhelpaustralia.org. Bye for now.